Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this two-tone beanie. This is made to measure, so I'm going to show you how to adjust the circumference for your own head size. To make this beanie, you'll need your yarn, a crochet hook, scissors, a yarn needle, and a couple of stitch markers. The yarn I'm using is 8-ply, which is the thickness of the yarn. You can use a different weight yarn for this project. The yarn calls for a 4mm crochet hook, and that's what I'm going to be using. If you're using a different weight yarn, follow the recommended hook size your yarn calls for. So to make this beanie, we first need to make a rectangle like this. I haven't finished it. This part needs to be longer, like that, but it is gonna be a rectangle. And as you can see, if you want this beanie to be half two colors, and this is how we do it. So I'm working rows like this from this side back and forth like this, and that means every time I get to this line I need to change color and then get back to here, change to pink again, and continue doing that. So for me, this part, this color is gonna be at the top, and this is gonna be the bottom, including the brim. And this is the thickness of my brim, so you can still see a little bit color just above it. It wouldn't cover all of it. And the brim is gonna be 10 stitches. So this length is the length of the beanie, including the brim, and it is about 26 centimeters. That is about 10 inches. So the yarn I'm using is an 8-ply yarn. These are the same. So 8-ply is the thickness of the yarn, and with this yarn to reach 10 inches, I need to chain 45 chains. This part is 4.5 inches, and that is about 11, a little bit more than 11 centimeters. This is 5.5 inches, and that is 14 centimeters. So this is 4.5 inches, this is 5.5 inches. The reason why I'm giving you measurements instead of chains is because the measurements will still work even if you're using a different weight yarn. As long as you follow the measurements, you can use thicker or thinner yarn, it'll work. But you do chain differently depending on what yarn weight you're using. So with the 8-ply yarn here, I chained 20 for this, 20 chains for 4.5 inches, and this is 25 chains for 5.5 inches. Okay, so to get this started, we need to begin from here, making the foundation chains, and the foundation chain is made of 2 colors. We're going to begin with the color that is gonna be your brim color. So we're going to begin with a slip knot. There are different ways to make a slip knot. I make it like this, but you can use your way. Insert your hook and start chaining. So to make a chain, you're going to yarn over and then pull it through the loop on the hook. And that is chain 1, chain 2, 3, 4. Okay. So like I said before, for the brim color, I'm going to chain 5.5 inches. If you are also using an 8-ply yarn, you can follow my chain number. My chain number is going to be 25 chains. But if you're using a different weight yarn, you would just chain 5.5 inches. And don't ask me how many chains you should make. It depends on the thickness of your yarn. And unless I have the yarn with me, I wouldn't know how many chains is 4.5 inches for you. So this is gonna be a tiny bit special. What you're going to do is you're going to chain your chain number of this color minus 1. So if you want this part to have 25 chains, Here you're going to chain 24 minus 1. And if you need to chain like 30 chains to reach 5.5 inches, you would chain 29 here, for example. So I've got 24 chains here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10. That's 15. 20. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one on my hook doesn't count. That one is actually the reason why we minus 1, because that one for me is gonna be my 25th chain. But we're not counting it right now, but that is gonna be my 25th, if that makes sense. If you don't understand this, that's okay. Just chain whatever chain number you need to chain, minus 1. Then, next what we do is we grab the other color, hold it like this, and we just pretend this is continuing from this. You yarn over and pull it through. Okay, and then you would continue chaining, yarn over, pull through, chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want 20 stitches for this color. And if you're not using an 8-ply yarn, you would just chain 4.5 inches. But I know for me to chain 4.5 inches, I need 20 stitches. So I'm counting my stitches starting from this. This is the first loop. So it's a 5, 10, 5 again, 15, and 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, this one on your hook doesn't count. So here I've got 25 chains in this color and 20 chains in this color. Okay, so now I've got 45 chains in total. I'm going to chain one more to turn, and the turning chain does not count as a stitch. So that's not a stitch, that's the last stitch. So you would just locate the second chain from your hook. 1, 2, and then you would insert your hook. But I always insert my hook in the back bump for my foundation chains, and that would just make the edge look better. So what I'm doing is I'm just turning this chain to the back and find its back bump. You can see there's a bump there. That's the chain, and that's its bump. So I'm going to insert in there. If you have difficulty in this, you just insert normally in the second chain here, just in that. Alright, like that. But for me, I'm going to insert in the back bump. So I turn my chain and locate the back bump of that stitch, insert my hook. We're going to use single crochet, so just yarn over, pull it through. Now you've got 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through both of them. And now we need to mark this stitch, and this is just to help you find this stitch, your first stitch, when you work your way back. So if you pull your work like that, you can see that is the single crochet we just made, and these are its top 2 loops. So you would just place your stitch marker in there like that. Okay, now we can continue working our single crochets. So find the next back bump, insert your hook in there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And if you are inserting in the back loop like that, you would continue doing that. But since I'm inserting in the back bump, and I'm just gonna keep doing that. So next stitch, this is the 3rd stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through, 2. Okay. Continue doing this. I will see you at this color change here. Okay, now I'm 1 stitch away from the color change. So what we're doing is work 1 stitch, 1 single crochet in each loop, matching the colors. So in that loop, in this back bump, I want to make a single crochet in that color, that 1 single crochet in that color, and here the loop is in a different color, it's in light brown. So in the back bump of this loop, I want to make a single crochet in this color, but where is the back bump? You can't see it because we changed color here. So what we do is just tie these together, then you'll be able to see it. And there it is. That is going to be the back bump for this loop. So in this loop, you want to work in pink, but then the next loop is going to be in a different color. And in crochet, if you want to change color, you change color 1 stitch earlier. So that means I'm going to change in this stitch, not in this, which is the other color. So insert my hook in the back bump of the last stitch in this color, and yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you bring this pink color to the front. So you just hold it like that, and then you grab the other color, yarn over, pull through 2 to finish this stitch. And here, as you can see, this stitch is still pink, but we changed color for the next stitch. The next chain is in this color, and the back bump is the loop we created by tying these 2 together. You can see there's a hole there, so you just insert your hook in that loop. We're still working in this color, so yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, single crochet. And this little tail, you can just bring it to the back. We're going to weave it in later. Okay, so from here, you just continue working, find the back bump of the next loop, insert your hook, and make a single crochet. I'll see you at the end of this row. Okay, so here, as you can see, that's the last loop, and that's its back bump. Insert your hook, make a single crochet. So whenever you finish the last stitch, you're going to chain 1 and turn. So that's the chain 1, that's the last stitch you just worked. So chain 1, last stitch, you're going to insert in the last stitch, and only insert in the back loop. So you have 2 loops here, 2 top loops, 1, 2. You're going to insert in the back loop like that and make a single crochet. Again, don't forget to mark your first stitch. And I'm going to place the stitch marker in the top 2 loops just like before. And then from here, you just continue making 1 single crochet in each stitch, and all of them are worked in the back loop only. So find your next stitch, insert in the back loop, make a single crochet. Next stitch, back loop, single crochet. Continue doing this, I'll see you at the color change here. Okay, when you get to 1 stitch, from the next color, we're going to change color in this stitch. Remember, because we need to change color one stitch earlier, and we're going to change in this stitch. So you insert your hook still, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you're going to drop this color to the front again. You're always going to do this. And if you drop it to the front, like we did before, we dropped this color to the front. This was the front for us, now it is the back. Now it just makes it easier for us to finish this stitch because this is going to be coming from the back. So yarn over, pull through, and finish this stitch. So that is the reason why you drop the old color to the front, but it's okay if you didn't understand what I mean, you just drop it to the front. Always do that. Okay, so then you can just use the new color, insert your hook in the next stitch in the back loop, and make your single crochet. I'll see you at the end of this row. So now I'm close to the end of the row. As you can see, that stitch is marked, and that's the last stitch I should work into. So I've got 3 stitches left. 1, 2, and then last stitch. I'm only going to insert in the back loop, just like before, make a single crochet, and I can take out this marker. And then, like I said before, at the end of each row, you're just going to chain 1, turn, skip the chain 1, go right to the last stitch from before. Now this is the first stitch for us. Insert your hook in the back loop and start making single crochets, and don't forget to mark this stitch. And continue working 1 single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. Okay, so here, because we've been working 1 stitch in each stitch, our stitch number of each row should be the same as our beginning chain number. The beginning chain number for me is 45, so that means I should have 45 stitches for each row. And the stitch markers will help us to keep track of the stitches so we don't lose any stitches at either the beginning or the end of the row. So if you're a beginner, you can count your stitches for each row just to make sure you didn't accidentally decrease. And if you've done the color change right, you should always have 20 stitches. For me, I would always have 20 stitches for this color. For you, you'd always just have the same stitch number for this color and same stitch number for that color. And the color change will go straight up like that, just like this piece here. So this is what we want to achieve. See, it looks like that. I've been changing color here for every row. So you make sure this is straight, it doesn't go away from the center line, and you make sure you have the same stitch number for each row, so this goes up as well. If the edge goes in like that, that means you're missing at least 1 stitch. Very likely the stitch at the very edge. So I'm gonna work to this color change and show you how to change color one more time. So now I'm at the color change again, and this is where we change color, the last stitch in the old color. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, and don't forget to bring it to the front. If your yarn is tangling, you can just, do that. Bring it over there. And then you use the new color to finish this stitch. It's actually not that hard. And then from the next stitch, you will just continue making your single crochet in the back loop of each stitch, and then you would work to the end, making sure you work in the very last stitch. Don't miss it. Take out the stitch marker and chain 1 and turn, begin your new row. So basically that's what you do to make the rectangle, to make the beanie. From row 2, it's not as hard. You just work one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch and you change color whenever you need to. The most difficult part would be the color change at row 1 because we're still building it up for later, but the color change after that should be easier. So you're just going to work your panel in this color, back and forth, change in this color, back and forth, change again in this color, back and forth. So you're just gonna be working like that and continue building your rectangle, and until this is long enough to wrap around your head snug. I still haven't finished this, but I will do that, continue working back and forth until this is long enough, and I'll see you back here. Okay, so this is what I have so far. I've done 89 rows. It's long enough to wrap around my head snug. So here you want to make sure your last row ends on this side, which is where the brim is. Because when we fold it like this and join these two edges together, you want the joining to go up like that so we can reach the top and close it up directly. So that is why my row count is sitting at a weird number, which is 89, when it could have been 88 or 90. So just make sure you end on the brim side. My head circumference is about 21 inches, and this piece can wrap around my head snug, so that means it can stretch to 21 inches like that. And what we do next is join the first row with the last row together. At the end of the last row, work into the very last stitch, don't miss it, and you don't have to chain one here. So turn your work, take out the hook, so your yarn is here on this side, fold the rectangle like that. We're going to use this color to join this edge and this pink color to join here. So first I'm gonna find the very first stitch on this edge. That is the first one. I'm gonna insert in both loops and then grab this loop, pull it through, and chain one. So that's the first stitch. And then go to the very next stitch, make sure you find the correct one, go into both loops, and then find the next stitch on the other side. So that is the last stitch, and that is the second last stitch before. Now it is the second stitch. So go into that stitch in the back loop only and make a slip stitch. So you just pull it through all the loops on your hook. So that was 2 stitches. I'm gonna do this 8 more times, making it a total of 10 stitches. So go into the very next stitch in both loops, and then go in the next stitch on the other side in the back loop only, make a slip stitch, and then you just continue doing that. So you always go in both loops on this side and on the other, always in the back loop only. This is the 4th stitch. Because for this color I have 25 stitches. Now I did the first 10 stitches, I should have 15 stitches left. You can double check here, it's 15 stitches for me anyway. Now you're going to mark the very next stitch right after the stitch we just worked. So that's the stitch we just worked, that's the very next stitch, and the very next stitch on the other side as well. That's the stitch we just worked, and that's the next one. So you mark that, and then you turn this piece inside out. I'm going to explain why after we finish joining the entire row. It doesn't matter which way you turn, but you're just gonna turn to the other side and you're gonna keep the hook in the loop as well. So the reason why we mark the stitches is just to help us find the very next stitches. So that stitch is marked. You go into both loops. The very next stitch on the other side is marked as well, so go in the back loop only and make a slip stitch. Okay, and then from there you can just continue working like that, always 2 loops on this side and back loop on the other, slip stitch. I'll see you at the color change here. So you finish the last stitch in this color, drop that yarn, pick up the other color, go in the very next stitch, doing the same thing, 2 loops and then back loop only, and then use the new color to make the slip stitch. And then you just continue doing that from the very next stitches, making slip stitches to the very end of the row. So you finish the very last stitches and then chain 1, leave a long tail about 1 meter. This is how long I'm going to leave my tail. This is just to close off the top, so it doesn't have to be too long. I'm going to cut here. And then just pull this yarn through. And then later I'm going to use this to close it off. I do already have a tutorial on a beanie like this using the same stitch. The only difference is that one is made in one color, but the structure is the same. So I'm going to do exactly what I did in that video to close up the top, but I'm going to show you how to finish this here and this tail as well. So you can cut this. So basically why we did the first stitch in that way is because this is the brim. So let me turn this inside out. As you can see, that's the join. This is the right side and that's the wrong side with the bump. And because we have the brim, we're going to fold it up. That is the wrong side. And when you fold it up, we can see the right side. It looks the same as here, and it's the wrong side, which is hidden now. Okay, so for this yarn, you are going to bring it to the wrong side. Be careful, don't undo this stitch. Other than that, you can go into any other space next to it. I'm gonna go in here, go to the wrong side, and now I can tie these together. So you tie it together and then cut the yarn. And because this is the wrong side, you don't really have to weave it in. It's not going to be visible. Don't forget to weave in this tail to the wrong side as well. I'm just going to hide it in the seam on the wrong side. Okay, and then the very last thing is to close up the top. But like I said before, I'm just going to do exactly what I did in this video that I'm linking to you. So if you don't have an idea how to do it, you can go to that video. But basically, I'm just going to go through the edge near the top here. Just go in and out of stitches like that, and then go all the way around. And then after that, you're going to pull the yarn tight, but be careful, don't break it. So you pull it as tight as you can, and then you still have a hole here, that's normal. I'm just going to sew it shut like that. And again here, if you don't know how to do that, watch that video. But once you finish that, bring the yarn to the wrong side, fasten off, and that's it. The beanie is done. I hope you like this beanie. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.